got you way too open to be open. Is the land you see me through just way too? Tell 'em, tell 'em, tell 'em, tell 'em. I go crazy. Crazy.
Hi.
Hey.
How are you doing, Kehlani?
I'm good. How are you doing?
We're good. Thank you very much. I'm Altovise.
Well, I'm DJ Sabby.
Nice to meet you guys.
So what do you call it in America? In Africa, we say when one is late, it's African time.
What do you call it in America?
Is it American time?
No, Americans are on time, I think.
I don't know. We just say late.
We can work with that.
We can work with that. How you doing though?
I'm good. I'm nervous. I don't know where to put my hands or like what to do with myself because the album comes out tonight. I'm just all over.
But you put the work in, man. So I guess you just have to wait for it to pan out. Where was your mind? Where was your heart when you were putting this body of work together?
I was in a relationship and then going through a breakup. So it was like the album started as one album and then I went through a bunch of things that I had to kind of write through. So it was going from, it being good until it wasn't. And that's what made everything kind of tie in together.
Yeah. That's what I remember telling my colleagues, like when I read the album title, it's like, oh, it was coming from a place where it was the end and the start, if I can put it like that.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the artwork for this project. Like, I'm not complaining about the back view, but what's the story?
Basically, well, first of all, I shot in my backyard. There was a whole concept and everything leading up to it until we got put under quarantine. So I kind of had to figure out how to get this same point across, with my backyard. But basically, I'm looking out over the wall. Clearly something, whatever on the other side of the wall is distracting me. It must be crazy because I've stopped whatever I was watering, stopped whatever I was doing, and like dragged over a chair to look over at it like a nosy neighbor, like just completely shook and distracted. And I wanted to make sure on the back cover, you see that we offer this kind of like tale of perspective because what's behind me is actually crazy too. Yeah. But clearly what's in front of me is also crazy because there's a teardrop coming out of my eye and I'm still looking distracted. But I have this water hose because I've been trying to water and put out the own mess that's going on behind me. And I didn't want any indication of what was going on behind me on the front cover. So that's why there's no like shadows or there's no dust on the ground or there's no like cracked stuff. I want it to be completely a surprise because really it's like, it's a metaphor and it's imagine. It's like all in my head. It's like all the mental crazy turmoil stuff that I'm dealing with behind me. And it's also symbolic for when you have to leave something bad behind, but it's just as hard to look forward. So it's kind of that in-between space, which is what the wall kind of represents for me, is that in-between represents is that middle ground between like it's really crazy behind me and it could potentially be really crazy in front of me. And either way, I'm just here with it. I'm literally right here.
Now, when you decided to drop the track list of the album, I won't lie, what caught my attention was you had 15 songs. And it's rare these days to find albums with 15 songs,
It's full.
Yeah, it's full. It looks like a full album. These days, people go for 7, 8 songs. I don't know if we should blame it on the fact that artists don't want to put out more music, or maybe the process of choosing music is a little bit harder to put on the album. The selection process for choosing the records you wanted on this album, how did you go about doing it with your team? What made these songs stick for you guys to put them on this album?
Yeah.
Well, this wasn't the title for a really long time. Like it had another title. And then when this title came about, all of a sudden, everything just made sense. It was like, oh, like now I know what story that I have to tell. Now I know what songs I have to get out right now because the rest of the songs, being that they weren't just to this theme, like they could come out whenever. They could go on another project. So the ones that fit this title, it was like perfect. It made perfect sense what could line up under. And it's really 13 songs and 2 skits. Yeah, but I wanted to make sure that I separated the skits from the songs in case, you didn't want to be in the middle of a poppin' playlist and you just hear talking for a second.
Now you really managed to carve your own way. From where, like being in I almost said boy bands, being in musical groups to then breaking.
Kind of was a boy band.
to then breaking out as a solo artist and I'm thinking about the way you sound. What is your opinion on the sound of R&B? And when I say a sound, I feel like you're part of a bigger body, yourself, SZA, Summer Walker, to name a few. Do you believe that women now have more freedom to express themselves? Also in the age of people saying they are lazy singers, calling the new sound of R&B the lazy sound. What's your take on that?
I mean, I think every decade sonics change, and I think that probably when it went from soul to 90s R&B, that the soul singers were like, they're not singing like this anymore, and they're not writing like this anymore, and this is not, and I miss when it sounded like this. And then 90s R&B was what it was, and now then you got into the early 2000s, and I'm sure all the little like hits, and as things got more hip-hop-ish, and the 90s R&B singers were probably like, what the hell is this? Like, we don't like this. This is weird. Like, every generation is going to represent wherever the collective mind state was of its generation. Like, we're writing like this because this is genuinely what we're experiencing. This is where we're at with it as a generation. This is where me, SZA, Summer, Janae, all of us are mentally at. Yeah. It's not this like purposeful, like, let's all just go and sing like this and write like this and piss everybody off or decide. So we're not in group chats like actively like, this is what we're all gonna sound like. This is the collective mindset. This is where we're at with it. It's why all these rappers sound like they do. It's and you don't often you get way more heat on the R&B world than they do for people not rapping like Common and Mos Def anymore. Like we're over here like with all the rappers sounding the same, making the same, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I think I love where R&B's at with it. I think in 5 years it's going to be different. In 5 years from then it's going to be different, and it's forever going to change. And I'm excited to hear what people 5 years from now have to say and sound like. And it's always going to evolve, and that's just what it is.
And when we look at your writing process for some of the songs on this album, would you say it was easier to pin down your emotions, or was it a little bit more challenging considering the fact that you were going through a lot in your own personal space?
I think it was easier because I was going through a lot. I think that when things are really calm, you have to like kind of, especially for someone who writes themselves and likes to write according to the timeline of my actual life and things that I'm going through. When it's kind of calmer in my life at the moment, it's like I have to like really sit and contemplate and draw old feelings back up and like rethink about things that I've either already healed from or that maybe I suppressed and didn't think about. If I'm actively going through it as I'm like in the studio, then it becomes a therapy for me, and everything that I don't want to say on social media or don't want to clarify on social media or don't want to say in an interview or don't want to even maybe say to the person, I get to put in the song. So for me, it was a lot easier.
Now, finding producers to be able to take these emotions that you've penned down in paper to translate it musically, how do you go about sourcing out the producers to work with on this album?
Well, I started with people that I've always loved working with. It's Jahan Sweet, Pop Wanzel, Oakfelder, some randoms. And then through working with them, we kind of like, they had friends and we knew people that were like emerging that I found like Go Grizz and Pooh Beats were people that had just got super poppin' for like the baby stuff and stuff like that. So it was like, how do we combine what's going on that's popular right now that, you know, these new guys who will bring freshness and newness to what I'm doing with my comfort zone, and how do we combine it and, you know, make it epic? And it was really just like trusting the producers themselves and allowing them to kind of like get their creativity off and me not micromanaging that. So that was fun to like let them take the reins on that side of things.
Now you've mentioned all the ingredients, some of the ingredients, that you used to put this body of work together. So you've created the work, you've packaged the work, and now it's time to roll out the work. But because we're in the midst of a pandemic, how do you think you're going to go about promoting your work if the gates weren't locked? I'm talking about music videos. Are we looking at social media performances? What will be different?
Well, in the midst of it, my album wasn't supposed to come out, and I dropped a music video that I made on my laptop. And I get all these calls like, yo, if you're down to keep rocking this way, then we'll support you. And so I bought a desktop and I bought a camera and I bought, I'm looking over there because I'm literally looking at my video editing station. But I bought video editing software and got on YouTube with my photographer, who's now technically a videographer, and we have made every single music video from scratch, just around the house, gone in my closet and found outfits and did my own hair and makeup. And then we sat in this hot ass garage and have edited every single video, you know, shot and edited everything. So we're gonna keep rolling out that way, and just it's honestly made the process way more personal, way more fun, and something to be way more proud of than normal. Social media performances, I'm not too into them. I will do it if that's the new norm of how people are performing, but just something so special about performing that you're never going to get through a screen is just being able to receive the energy back. And physically see what your music is doing for people on their faces and in their voices when they're singing it back to you, and being able to touch people's hands and like look at people and connect with them and have this moment like, wow, I made this to release something for me and you felt it too, and now here we are. We could be from opposite sides of the world and we're connecting because of this. Right. So it's different, but if that's what it is, and it's what it is. So we'll see.
You know, something that caught my attention also, I'm just looking at the track listing, and I'm loving the young energy on your album. You know, it's rare sometimes to find the new artists coming together and putting work together without having to reach out to big artists, you know, that have been in the game for donkey years for a cosign. You know, you got the likes of Masejo in this album. You got the likes of James Blake. You got Lucky Day. You got Jhené Aiko. And some people never want to share some moments of the album with other people. But why source out these voices to contribute to your storytelling in this project?
Well, to me, when you listen to the songs, to me, it sounded like when I heard the open verse, I heard their voice already, and just made so much sense. Like, Lucky's such a beautiful singer. Like, I mean, you could tell he's already critically acclaimed. He's so early in the game, and the thing people praise the most is just the fluidity in his voice is incredible. It's like liquid gold. Like, it made so much sense to have him on that song. James Blake, like, I didn't even think he knew I existed, and someone connected us, and he was like, I love this one song you just put out. And I was like, what? Why do you know I exist? Like, and he was like, not only do I know you exist, but I'm down. And then he did the song. It's the most like haunting, like hollow, like dark, like, and who else better to do a haunting song than James Blake? Masego's an incredible musician. As soon as I thought of, I would like a saxophone on this, who better than someone I'm actually friends with, and one of the most incredible like young Black saxophone players of our generation, and artists in general. Masego. Jhené, no-brainer, voice liquid gold as well, and she, I feel like, could tell the story that was on the song. Who did I forget? Tori just talks a lot of smack, and it's such a little cocky little song that I was like, who better than to get somebody that's little and cocky and epic, and he's snapped. And I didn't mean that you said, oh, like I meant little, like little. I meant little cocky.
Not like little
Quarantine Kehlani. Quarantine Kehlani.
Love you, Tori. Love you, Tori.
If you had to wake up tomorrow and it would say, it's a live Instagram battle, it's a versus battle, it would be Kehlani versus who? And why that?
I don't think I qualify for those.
You do.
You do.
But you got music though. Like, you've been at it.
I have to qualify for the versus battle. I have no idea. I really couldn't tell you.
Don't you think you'd take on if you had to go up against Jhené?
No, I would never want to go up against Jhené. Jhené is like, even she's like the big sister to me in the industry, like pyramid. She came out before me. She's older than me. I think she's had bigger records than me as well. Like, I wouldn't necessarily want to do a versus battle. I would want to do a let's endlessly compliment each other back and forth type of situation. But I wouldn't want to do a versus battle. I have too much respect for what she's done in the kind of lane that she's opened up for somebody like me. So
a jam session as opposed to maybe a versus.
Yeah, I would do a jam session. There we go.
Yeah. I'm going to bring this one up because you guys I enjoyed the song you guys dropped together. I don't know if, should I say he's your ex or not? YG?
Yeah, it's my ex, yeah.
Yeah. Like, why? I thought he would make the album, you know? I'm sure.
What do you mean?
I swear, like, I was looking for him on the project, and I was trying to find means and ways to to bring him in.
We're done with that, right?
We've moved on. We've moved on.
But musically, do you guys have any records that are just sitting somewhere in a hard drive?
We do. We definitely do. I don't know if they'll ever make it out the hard drive. They were good until they weren't.
Oh,
and it's no bad blood. And he will make his music and I will make mine. And in the future, maybe there'll be room for a very friendly record.
Friendly record. Got it.
Okay.
Very friendly.
I really did enjoy your music together. So I thought maybe it'll come back just to show everyone that you can work with your ex, right?
We're looking over the
Give
wall.
it a couple of years.
We're over the wall.
Give it a couple of years. Yeah, we need some time.
Look, before we let you go, let's talk about lockdown and this pandemic. It's probably different for you in America than it is right here for us in South Africa.
Also, as a mama,
How's it been?
Well, my daughter just turned 1. We had a quarantine birthday party, which was really cute. We made like the baby quarantine club. So we had like bottle service with literal bottles and it was very funny. But I've been really enjoying like just being home to be with her 24/7 and like her kind of getting to be right on my lap when I work and me just getting to spend all day top to bottom with her instead of anything else. That's been dope. And getting to like spend time in my backyard. Like I was gone so much, not at home, that like I feel like I hadn't even really got to know my backyard. I just been kind of looking at it like one day I'll get some sun. One day my vitamin D deficiency will, But I don't know, it's been a cool time to not only gain new skills and new creative routes, but to rest a little bit in between, that, because I am very busy. I am all day working to like learn the video software and shoot the videos and edit the videos and do the covers, but then I get to just crawl into bed and take a nap if I need it. So that's been super blessed.
So quarantine aside, when are you coming to South Africa?
I want to so bad. This was supposed to be my year to do it. Like this was supposed to be like after really next year, because this year I was supposed to be on tour with Justin Bieber for like 5 months. Then I was supposed to do a couple shows and spot dates in like my hometown. I always do a Christmas concert at the end of the year. Then next year I was supposed to go on like my solo tour and do Brazil, Asia, Africa, and Europe. Like there was talk about all of this, and but I don't know when they'll come back around to touring. I think that that's one of the last things they'll think about, because it's just such an extracurricular, like leisurely activity. But, hopefully it comes back around, because I think concerts really know how to bring people together. But we'll think of health first, and whatever they announce and they say is best for society, then, I'm all for it.
Yeah. And when you look at how Africans are now being embraced in the commercial sector, especially out in the US, with the likes of Davido and Wizkid getting massive love, in your space, have you caught any artist that has kind of released music and you're like, wouldn't mind working with this African artist? Is there any?
I like Tenny a lot.
Ooh,
Tenny is fire.
Yeah.
I love her. I love her a lot. I would love to work with her. I think I've just been super hypersensitive to not stepping or taking space up in a culture that doesn't belong to me. So I'm just trying to figure out like what is the appropriate way to go about it? Like what is a way that doesn't, feel like I'm overstepping any boundaries or doing it in the wrong way. So whenever it makes sense and whenever time allows it and it's like correct, and I would love to come at it correctly and do it correctly. And I think that she would be someone I would absolutely love to work with, because she's so talented.
Yeah.
So what, are you a very religious person? Cultural person? Like, do you believe in ancestors?
I'm just a respectful person. I am religious and I'm definitely into culture, but I'm also just into respect. Like, I just know that when cultures are being embraced by the mainstream, there can be a lot of boundaries that are crossed that oftentimes people don't listen to the people who are actually of the culture whose boundaries being crossed. They tend to just be like, well, it's becoming a thing, so let's all just jump on it, So I just want to be hyper aware and hypersensitive and just make sure I'm not doing anything I'm not supposed to be doing in any type of way. So
awesome, man. Look, thank you very much for chatting to us. And hopefully one day we'll be able to host you in studio, chat to you, share ink ideas, maybe get some ink together.
Yeah, let's get a tattoo. I'd love that.
Yeah, So I'm not gonna ask you this question. Social media, so it's like
Okay, it's like,
it's
can you drop your
Kehlani.
social media handles? No, people will just find you. But
Yeah.
all the best for the release. Don't be nervous. As you said, you poured your heart and soul into it, and it will definitely resonate because energies never ever lie. So thank you for your time, and we can't wait to see you on this side.
Thank you for your time, and thank you for, I think, being my first South African like interview, like talking in to face interview ever. So yeah, I'll see you guys hopefully soon.
Yeah,
Cool.
keep on.